It is with a heavy heart that I rise to speak to this motion moved in my name. When I drafted this motion less than 2 weeks ago, the number of Australian women who have been killed by acts of violence this year was 47. Today, that number now stands at 53. 6 more women have been killed in the last 2 weeks alone. We have a national crisis when it comes to violence against women in Australia. Deputy Speaker, each year I rise in this House to read the names of women who have been violently killed. Last week I read the names of 47 women. Today I rise to read 6 more. They are, and sadly a number of these are unnamed women because they have not been publicly released as yet, the names. An unnamed woman, aged 37. An unnamed woman, aged 44. An unnamed woman, aged 45. Julianne Egan, aged 63. Yet another unnamed woman, aged 39. And Jodie Jewell, just 55. I want to acknowledge the work of the Destroy the Joint, who do the job of maintaining the Counting Dead Women Register in Australia, and thank them for the heartbreaking work they do. When more than one woman a week is violently killed, usually by an intimate partner or someone close to them, it is beyond time for a national reckoning. This national crisis requires a fundamental shift in our culture, our behaviours, our attitudes towards women. The Albanese Labor government has set ourselves the goal of ending violence against women and children within a generation. Australia has never set ourselves an ambition like this before, and it's not going to be easy. We must try to, because the status quo is not good enough. The Australian Bureau of Statistics reveals 2.7 million women have experienced partner violence or abuse. The 2021-22 Personal Safety Survey also found that women living in households under financial stress were more than twice as likely to face violence or abuse, and more than 300,000 women were pregnant when they experienced violence by their partner. First Nations women experience disproportionately high rates of violence. Women with disability in Australia are twice as likely to have experienced sexual violence over their lifetime than women without disabilities, and lesbian, bisexual and queer women experience higher rates of sexual violence than heterosexual women in Australia. On Saturday, 25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, we announced a new statistical dashboard that will provide more timely reporting on intimate partner violence. We know that to end violence, we must be able to measure it. Understanding the scale of the issue with accurate, verified, closer to real-time data is critical. The new dashboard, with quarterly updates initially, will enable police, governments, policymakers and those who are working to end violence against women and children to better understand what is happening and when. This comes on top of our funding for consent and respectful relationships education, sexual violence prevention pilots and support of the work of Our Watch, the national leading organisation for primary prevention of family, domestic and sexual violence in Australia, and development of a national perpetrator risk assessment framework to identify risks posed by perpetrators and support earlier intervention. The Albanese Labor government is taking immediate and practical steps to prevent family and domestic violence and better support victim survivors with a $2.3 billion investment in this area. We've released a 10-year national plan to end violence against women and children, including a dedicated plan for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We've added 10 days paid domestic family violence leave to the national employment standards, reduced time for victim survivors to access the escaping violence payment, securing funding for the delivery of frontline services, and have committed to growing this workforce. We've increased financial support for temporary visa holders experiencing violence, and we're making the family law system simpler and safer for people fleeing family violence. It's going to take every level of government, business, schools, sports clubs, families and neighbourhoods, every part of our community to work with us to make this ambition a realistic goal, and let's keep women and children safe in Australia.
I thank